Interview with Adam Trombley. I grew up as a scientist and I spoke the language of science all my life. My mother was a blood researcher, my father was a biochemist, and my sister was biophysicist. When my father received PhD in biochemistry from a university, I was very young. He was recruited as a biochemist, together with Frank Olson, to a project shared by the Air Force and the CIA. My father was placed in the biological lab in Port Detrick, Maryland. It was in the year 1952 during the Korean War. He is already an officer in the Army, decorated in the Second World War. In Port Detrick, he and his colleague Olson worked together with some scientists on a project that is very classified. I was soon 8 and I have known nothing about the project. On the day 7th to his death, I was in the attic looking for mouse traps. I discovered some boxes that contained diaries. Diaries kept from the period of his work in Fort Detrick. He wasn't supposed to write diaries, but he did. One of the things he wrote in the diary was exposure to technology, an alien technology that stood in contradiction to all that was considered in the same period and even until today, not correct to the known physics. He wrote, "What I saw challenging the imagination." These comments were written immediately some days after he arrived to Port Detrick. After some time the comments were really interesting. He described explicitly various technologies which according to him were from alien sources. He described flying discs, the systems and the energy related to them. He described biology entities not from Earth. On the 19th of November 1953, my father together with Dr. Frank Olson and some more colleagues have taken by Dr. Sidney Gottlieb to the summer camp next to Baltimore. While he and his colleagues received LSD in cocktails. Olson knowledge on the experiment, and from worry to my father said, "Harvey, you received drugs psychoactive. If you start to feel strange, take care of yourself." Olson took too much LSD and freaked out. He was rushed by the CIA to New York for testing by psychiatrist. In New York something terrible happened. Frank was beaten in his head and thrown from the window of a room in the hotel where he was murdered. That was the conclusion of pathologists hired by his son Eric in 1994. My father submitted an internal protest letter demanding investigation on the death of his friend. That caused finally the events that killed him. In January 1954, under the illusion that he testing a new material, they injected him with a live virus. In the diary, he specified that he knew right away what happened to him. "They have killed Frank, and now they killing me. The difference is that I will die slowly, very slowly." He died in the year 1960, in the form of lymphoma. I know that agenda of aliens because my father wrote about it. It was not for the benefit of the human race. He wrote about 6 alien types and personally, he met 2. He believed that the complex military-industrial is involved in the alien program. Forget all the technologies that I created. They are nothing compared to the alien technologies already produced by contractors here in this country.